Hey guys, today I'll show you a horror mystery film named The Last Voyage of Demeter. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. The story begins on a stormy night when a patrolling police unit discovered a stranded cargo ship on the British coast. There was not a single survivor on board, with only a captain's logbook found, detailing everything that occurred during the voyage. With the emergence of this diary, the story of the Demeter began to unfold. 4 weeks prior, the Demeter was docked at the port of Varna. Named after the Greek goddess of harvest, the ship only carried goods, no passengers. The ship was short of a few crew members, so the captain asked the deputy to select 3 robust men. Surprisingly, among the burly applicants, there was a doctor from Cambridge University who applied, wanting to work as a crew member while making his way to London. Seeing that the doctor didn't even have a callus on his hands, the deputy passed him over and chose 3 others. But an accident occurred too soon. As the crew was hoisting the cargo onto the ship, one of them spotted a dragon symbol on a crate. Startled, he slipped, and the crate began to tip. It was about to fall on the captain's grandson when the doctor, disregarding the danger, saved the boy. Recognizing the dragon symbol as an ill omen, the startled crew member promptly resigned. Grateful for the doctor in saving his grandson, the captain made an exception and invited the doctor to join them. After all 50 crates were loaded, the Demeter officially set sail. The boy, excited, took the doctor on a tour around the ship. He told the doctor that in case of emergencies, he could knock hard on the wooden wall of the cargo hold. The sound would travel all the way to the captain's cabin. Due to the long voyage and large food demand, numerous livestock were kept near the cargo hold, even including a pet dog. Further inside was the kitchen, where the cook, a devout but old-fashioned believer, worked. In addition to these, there were 5 crew members on board, all accustomed to life at sea. The eldest, the captain, had spent half his life on ships. He planned to complete this voyage, then retire to a small cottage in Ireland. The management of the Demeter would then be handed over to the deputy. In the evening, everyone crammed into the dining room for dinner when the dog suddenly began to bark anxiously. The livestock in the hold also became restless. The doctor, believing these were signs of an impending storm because animals can sense such disasters, sent the boy to notify the captain while he went to check the cargo hold. He found one of the wooden crates broken, with a mound of soil spilling out. As he leaned in for a closer look, a woman crawled out from the pile of dirt, evidently suffering from anemia. The doctor opened his medical kit and administered a blood transfusion to the woman with his simple equipment. Meanwhile, a terrifying creature was slowly waking up in another crate. The captain placed the woman in the carpenter's shed until she could be dealt with after regaining consciousness. As the night got deeper, everyone returned to their bunks to rest, leaving only the doctor and a man on shift. The man named Olgarin, peering through a telescope at the sea, suddenly saw a face flash by. He quickly lowered the telescope, but the strange figure had already disappeared, leaving him with a dreadful sense of foreboding. Below deck in the cargo hold, the dog was wandering around. He sniffed a strange smell and peered into the darkness like a peeping Tom, only to see a shadow moving deep in the hold. He began to bark anxiously. The next morning, when the cook got up to cook, he found the dog dead. All the livestock in the pen were also dead, their throats torn open. To prevent disease from the decaying bodies, they tossed the carcasses into the sea. However, the cause of the livestock's death remained a mystery, and an undercurrent of unease spread throughout the ship while the cause of all the trouble lurked in the dark cargo hold, waiting for the next opportunity to hunt. The weather turned nasty for the next 3 days, leaving the crew no time to contemplate their situation. Everyone was busy navigating. The doctor continued to give the woman regular blood transfusions, but her condition did not improve, remaining unconscious. The boy often came to care for the woman. He had heard her sleep talk, learning that her name was Anna. The ship was busy, yet calm for a few days, and the previous incident seemed like a dream. But the cook knew things were not that simple. He noticed that the ship's rats, usually scurrying everywhere, had disappeared overnight. The absence of rats on a ship was unnatural and foreboded that something terrible was about to happen. The cook's words turned prophetic as disaster once again struck the Demeter. In the dead of night, the mustachioed watchman on duty heard a strange knocking sound. Following the noise, he discovered a gaping hole in the cargo hold's roof, with a pale creature crawling on the ground. The creature sprang up, pouncing on the mustachioed man and using using its claws to rip open his throat, drinking his blood. The doctor came out to check, but the mustachioed man's body had already disappeared, without traces of his smelly mustache. Unable to find anyone, he sounded the alarm. The next day, everyone gathered on the deck, deep in thought. The mustachioed man's fresh blood still stained the ground, but no one knew whether he was dead or alive or what had happened to him the previous night. Just then, Anna emerged from the shed, shouting that they needed to abandon the ship because the creature was hiding aboard. Everyone thought she was mad and had the doctor take her mad body away. The deputy prohibited the crew from heeding Anna's ramblings. Their task was to complete their voyage and not worry about anything other than the weather. However, the doctor was determined to uncover the truth. He secretly spoke with Anna and learned from her that a vampire named Dracula was locked in the crate. He only moved about at night and fed on the blood of innocents. Anna's village had suffered greatly from him. To protect the villagers, the village chief had offered Anna to the vampire as a blood bag. As she spoke, she lifted her clothes to reveal bite marks and warned the doctor that Dracula was heading to London. He needed to hide below deck to avoid the sunlight, so he wouldn't leave the ship. They needed to act quickly, or everyone on board would be doomed. Meanwhile, Olgarin and his companion were on night duty on the deck in the pouring rain. Lightning flashed and thunder roared, covering the sound of the planks being hit. Dracula took advantage of the dark to act. Olgarin saw this and ran away, climbing up the high mast using the ropes, but Dracula caught up quickly. On the other hand, the sleeping doctor and others were awakened by the extreme tilt of the ship. They all scrambled onto the deck and found that the two on duty were missing. They first worked together to steady the ship, then called out Olgarin's name. Just then, a few drops of bright red blood fell on the boy's shoulder. They quickly brought down Olgarin, who had suffered a severe head injury and was in a state of madness. The doctor had to tie him to the table for treatment. His neck bore clear bite marks, similar to those on the dead livestock, but not as severe. The doctor recalled Anna's story and told everyone about the vampire. The captain, upon hearing this, looked grave and ordered a search of the entire Demeter. The crew checked the cargo hold but found no trace of Dracula. They just didn't think to pry open the crates and look inside. There wasn't much space on the ship, and if they couldn't find him elsewhere, then Dracula was definitely hiding in the crates. The captain was most worried about his grandson as sunset approached, so he asked the boy to stay in the captain's cabin and lock the door. Everyone gathered on the deck to discuss strategies, oblivious to the fact that Olgarin was gradually waking up and had been turned by Dracula. He was struggling desperately to free himself. The boy, hearing the noise outside, disregarded his grandfather's instructions and opened the door to check. He saw Olgarin standing in the darkness, so he approached him to ask what was going on. Olgarin began dragging the boy into the darkness. The young boy shrugged off his coat and rolled and crawled back to the captain's cabin. He bolted the door and picked up a razor from the table for self-defense. There was a loud thudding noise from behind. Olgarin was using his head to smash the door, and soon there was a hole in the wooden door. The clever boy climbed onto the table and knocked on the ship's hull. Luckily, the cook heard his distress signal and quickly called everyone to go and check. When the doctor rushed to the cabin, he immediately saw Olgarin smeared with blood. The doctor pinned him against the wall, but fortunately, other crew members appeared just in time to subdue him. The captain went to check on his grandson, but the door was still tightly locked. The boy wanted to go out and open the door for his grandfather, but saw Dracula crouching in the corner. Dracula climbed down from the ceiling and grabbed the boy, draining his blood in a frenzy. Just then, Anna rushed over and shot the lock off the door. Dracula fled in panic, leaving the boy gasping on the floor. The doctor rushed him away to rest, and Olgarin was tied to the mast. His senses had been amplified several times over. He could hear the sound of blood flowing in every person, and a craving for blood was burning within him. The crew, knowing nothing about vampires, did not realize Olgarin had been turned. They thought he had contracted some kind of virus, but as the sun rose above the horizon, every inch of the man's skin began to burn. His agonized chicken screams echoed through the sky, and the deputy had no choice but to send him straight to heaven to end his pain. The horrifying scene had everyone scared out of their wits. The doctor feared that the boy would go mad like Olgarin, so he stabilized the boy's condition by performing a blood transfusion. Although uncertain whether this method would work, he noted that Anna didn't mutate after receiving a transfusion, which suggested it was worth a try. The unlucky crew member was on duty that night. He lit a cigarette to stay alert, but was knocked unconscious by the cook, who then secretly escaped in a lifeboat. As the cook paddled away from the ship, the doctor and Anna quietly snuck into the cargo hold. They wanted to pry open the crates to confirm whether Dracula was hiding inside. However, after checking several crates, they only found heaps of soil. Finally, they found a crate marked with a dragon and opened the switches on the four corners. The soil was crawling with maggots, and a cane was laid beside it. This must be where Dracula was hiding. But it was deep into the night, and Dracula was not in the crate. Instead, he caught up with the escaping cook and had his dinner. When the blood-stained lifeboat drifted back next to the ship, the cook's body was nowhere to be found. The manpower on the ship was dwindling, and the boy had stopped breathing. The captain wanted to dock at the next port, but the crew members disagreed because any delay would cost them their bonus from the employer. They decided to take the risk. When day broke, they wrapped the boy's body, ready to throw it into the sea. But the captain saw the shroud move slightly. Thinking his grandson had come back to life, he rushed forward and pulled back the cloth. But in the next second, the boy's body burst into flames. The doctor quickly pushed the boy into the sea. The captain survived, but half of his body was severely burned. Now, only one day's journey away from London, the doctor made up his mind to kill Dracula on the ship, rather than risk bringing him to the densely populated city. However, killing a vampire isn't an easy task. He plans to cause the Demeter carrying Dracula to sink, while the crew escape in lifeboats. Everyone quickly sealed off the cargo hold and prepared ammunition and weapons. The captain, driven to madness, even thought about using Dracula to resurrect his grandson. But Anna's persuasive words rekindled his sense of duty. He joined the team to kill Dracula, swearing to avenge his grandson. As night quickly fell, a thick fog spread across the ship, obscuring everyone's vision. Everyone was anxiously waiting for Dracula's arrival. Suddenly, the sound of flapping wings came from above. Dracula descended from the sky, grabbed the rope around the crew member's waist, and despite the deputy's desperate attempts to hold onto his comrade, the crew member was pulled from the lookout tower and killed by Dracula in the blink of an eye. His body hit the sail, leaving a horrifying bloodstain. The deputy quickly descended the mast, the thick sea fog making visibility near zero. He crashed into the cabin, breaking his leg. Despite the pain, he crawled out of the cargo hold, jamming the door shut behind him. He took an axe and hacked at the ship's hull, causing seawater to flood into the Demeter. Unexpectedly, Dracula emerged from the cargo hold at this time and killed the deputy. By the time the doctor arrived, it was too late. He pulled the axe from the wooden plank, ready to meet up with the captain and Anna. However, a storm had started. The captain was trying to steady the helm. Just as he secured the ropes, he was bitten by Dracula. The doctor rushed to the scene, but the captain was already unable to hold on. Clutching the boy's necklace, he died on the deck. Now only the doctor and Anna remained on the ship, with the doctor wielding an axe to challenge Dracula. The vampire spread his wings in the storm, teleported in front of the doctor, and knocked him several meters away with a swing of his wing. The doctor lay on the ground, unable to get up. At this moment, Anna shot Dracula's wing from behind. This act enraged the vampire, who flew to Anna and wrapped her sexy body up in his wings. Seeing this, the doctor quickly swung his axe, intending to interrupt their smelly moments. He managed to save Anna but was caught by Dracula. The vampire traced his nails across the doctor's neck, revealing a row of pointed teeth. But before he could taste the tempting blood, Anna risked her life to cut the ropes. The massive mast fell towards the sea. The doctor broke free and jumped into the sea with Anna. Dracula was impaled by the mast, letting out a piercing scream like a chicken. The storm blew the Demeter towards the British coast. The ship shattered upon impact. Dracula managed to push the mast away and escape, while the two held onto driftwood, floating in the sea. Anna was transforming into a vampire. The doctor wanted to continue the blood transfusion, but Anna refused. After all, the blood transfusion was only a temporary solution. Sooner or later, she would become a bloodthirsty beast. Rather than hurt others, she chose to leave while she still had her sanity. As the first ray of light broke the sea's surface, Anna calmly accepted death amid the flames. The doctor, alone, returned to the shore. He hadn't given up on hunting Dracula and spread his search far and wide. Just then, a familiar tapping sound echoed. A man was rapping the floor with his cane. The doctor knew it was Dracula, so he got up and pursued him. He would never stop until Dracula was killed. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.